Hello, I'd like to welcome you all to Wilmington Community Television Studios. My name is Sam Showerman. I'm here with Captain Jim Murray of the Wilmington Minutemen, and we're going to do a little preview show here of the upcoming Liberty Pole weekend that will be taking place May 30th and 31st at Liberty Pole Park, also known as the Rotary Park. This is Mr. Jim Murray, Captain Jim Murray of the Wilmington Minutemen. Welcome. Could I get you to give us a little bit of information about your involvement with the Minutemen and the Liberty Pole celebration in general?
Well, as captain of the Wilmington Minutemen, it is my job to protect the town from the British bothering the people in town. Last year we had an encounter, and of course we chased them back to Boston where they belong. This year we're planning another peaceful encampment. There'll be various groups set up. Sutlers will be coming, people from Barica, other Minutemen groups, people from New Hampshire. The town fathers have asked us to put up a Liberty Pole as a sign of protest for some of the unfair taxation that we've received from the local government. And this is our plan again this year. And again, if there is trouble, we plan on sending them back to Boston where they belong.
I'm sure there will be trouble too. Can you give us a little bit of history of the celebration?
Well, the history of it, again, was a protest. What the British would find up when they woke up in the morning was this pole in the middle of their common with a red cap on it. And it was a sign to antagonize the British, to make fun of the British for their unfair treatment of the colonists.
Great. So that truly is the significance of the Liberty Pole, is due to the unfair taxes, I assume, on tea. That was one of the issues? That
was one of it. And they treated us very badly, too. They thought we were lower than they were, and they were so much better, and they didn't treat us very well. And this is one of our ways of getting back at them, was to make fun of them.
I had noticed that on the Liberty Pole, there's a red cap on it. That's, I guess, the true significance of raising it in the air was to show the British that you were able to do that. But what does the actual red cap, what is the significance of that on the Liberty Pole?
The cap itself, the history of the cap, it's unknown why it's red, or perhaps it had to do with the uniform as such of the British. There's no where it came from, but somehow one story I've heard that a sailor had climbed the pole and put his cap on top of the pole, and somehow traditionally that's how it occurred. Nowadays it is the captain's wife who knits the red hat, and each year we put it up on the pole as a sign of defiance.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think we have a couple, 2 or 3 numbers we'd like to give for anyone who may be interested in getting involved or purchasing tickets for this. Once again, it's going to be May 30th and 31st. The numbers we have for that, if we get those pulled up, is 658-2597, and I believe they're shown on the screen right now. The other number we have for ticket information is 658-2346. That's 658-2346. And we're also going to give you Captain Jim Murray's number, just for general information in case anyone needs to know some of the events that's going on, whatever. You can get a hold of Jim Murray at 1-617-923-1882. And at that, we've compiled a short tape of some of the preparation from last year, and a little bit of some of the events that go on, some of the altercations, excuse me. And why don't we take a quick look at that?
taxes so they cannot sell tea? sales or income taxes at levels that prevent them from achieving economic growth. Liberty is the right of the people to vote and to choose their own government, of the people, by the people, for the people. And it is the right of the people to rise up against tyranny. And this time the governor is on your side.
Now, you can certainly see from the tape that there is a number of altercations going on, and I'm sure they will not let anyone down this year, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of altercations once again. It's my understanding there's a possibility that George and Martha Washington may be.
That's true. We got word that he's on his way. As you know, it takes a long time to travel by horse and buggy, but he has indicated that he will be here sometime Saturday afternoon and plans on attending the concert. So.
Great, and that sounds like a very delightful concert. That's with Jim Douglas. It's been titled as an educator, a historical balladeer, and folk singer. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Jim?
Yeah, Jim Douglas works for Sturbridge Village. He's gone around to various schools teaching where our music came from, the history of our music. We're a very young country, and a lot of our music has been lost, and he will be teaching us some of the songs there. Also, the Lorraine Spottas dance group will be dancing the Massachusetts Hop. There's an actual dance out there called the Massachusetts Hop, and they will be performing there. There's also going to be some piano and flute music being played also through the concert. Also during the concert, we understand the British are kind of upset about one particular song in there. It has to do with tea and tax, and we don't quite understand why they're so upset. But they said if it is sung that night, he is going to do something to the singer or perhaps burn the church down. So we are prepared for that, and I understand the song Rule Britannia is going to be sung. But we're going to play a little trick on the British this year. While they're singing from the chorus, we're going to be ringing the church bells. And so when the people hear the church bells go off at 9:30 at night, it's not because there's a fire, it's because there's a protest planned up by the Liberty Tree. And Marion Brenton apparently has got out of jail from her last arrest and is bound and determined to give another speech against taxation. So plan around 9:30 Saturday evening right after the concert for that. So when people hear the church bells go off, run to the right out in front of the TV station here. There'll be lanterns hung on the tree, and once again, Marion Brenton is bound and determined to give that speech again.
I'm sure she will. Some of the other events, you're going to be having a supper at the Masonic Temple.
That's correct, yeah. It's probably honoring Christopher Columbus. It's an Italian festival. Again, colonials will be there, so if you want to have some pictures taken or have a meal with some of the colonials or British officers, they will be there at the supper.
And of course, what celebration can be complete without a parade? What that's going to be on Sunday, is that correct?
Yeah, Sunday, the parade is planned for at 2 p.m.
And what about the parade route?
It is planned for Middlesex Avenue. We'll be going right from the Common, right down Middlesex Avenue to the Rotary Park there.
Okay. All of the events basically are going to be held right at Rotary Park, at Liberty Pole Park.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Other than the concert and the Liberty Tree, everything will be held down at Rotary Park. And we have a lot of special events planned for the people this year.
Wonderful. Would you like to elaborate a little bit on those events?
Well, this year we're trying to make it a family event and trying to get where the economy is so bad and people don't have money to go out to basketball games and baseball games. we've done some colonial activities for people to go down there. There's no charge to go into the encampment at all. It's all free. And there'll be some children's games planned. And this year we're going to have our first Ben Franklin kite flying contest. And that's sponsored by one of the local real estate offices. Along with that, there's going to be some children's games. A lot of the games that were played, and I'll show you a couple of them here, if you'd like to go fish.
Thank you.
I've heard something about Nintendo or something, but the idea is to get the ball in the cup, and this will keep you busy for hours, folks. You buy one of those down there, and unless you hit yourself in the head with it, you'll be all right. But there'll be ancient games going back 2,000, 4,000 years, games that you wonder where the origins come, and they're just endless in time and such, and those will be played down there. Also, there'll be hawk and knife contests.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, by local colonial groups. We've got some expert knife and hawk throwers, and you can come down there, and that'll be between 1 and 3 p.m. Also, there'll be cannon demonstrations throughout the day, and this year before the supper, we're planning a big cannon demonstration. It's going to be called an evening gun. There'll be 5, 6 cannons going off at the same time, and it'll make quite a roar in town. So. Also, I heard there is a grudge match. There was trouble last year between a British officer and one of our officers, and they're bound and determined to settle it this year with a duel, a pistol duel. And hopefully no one will get hurt, because traditionally during the duels they would fire at each other, but the accuracy of the pistols were so bad, it was kind of like a bunch of people making some noise at each other, but no one ever got hurt during the duels. If you got lucky, you hit somebody with the pistol, but usually it did not. Again, we're going to have the supper at the Masonic Temple, so anybody likes to come by for that. There'll also be some drilling going on, and we encourage people to come down. Don't be standoffish. Ask questions. People have a lot of good stories to tell. We have a lot of sutlers coming, and these are people who followed camps around and sold various colonial articles, perhaps something like that game there, and they will be there.
Wonderful. I'll tell you what, we have a tape, if we could roll that, of the upcoming events, many of them that Jim just mentioned, with the times and the day that they're going to be going on. If we can roll that.
Okay, also, I mentioned we're going to have a Ben Franklin kite flying contest this year, and the rules are you have to make the kite from scratch. You can't go to any of the stores and buy a ready-made kite. You have to make it with your kids from the scratch, but we're going to give you a little help. You can go down to the town crier, and they're going to donate some paper, a blank paper, and you can color and design your own kite, and they also got some materials down there, too, to help you build your kite. Again, we're trying to make a family type of event. We want people involved with their kids and such, and this is one of the things that they can do is go fly a kite this weekend.
Great. It sounds nice to see a celebration. It's family-oriented. I know they're becoming far and few. Last question that I really have, Jim, is if anyone's interested in becoming involved, how do they become a Minuteman? What does the Minuteman have to offer to the public?
Well, again, we meet the second Thursday of the month down behind the Hardin Tavern. There's a little building back there, and at 8 o'clock in the evening. This year is probably the best year in the world to become a Minuteman because the tall ships are coming into Boston. And we're going to be having cannon out there. We're also going to be part of the tall ships event, and we get in for free. So that would be a great reason why to become a Minuteman this year. And again, if you show up down at the headquarters, you have to go for 2 meetings and pay us a whopping $10 a year, and you're a Minuteman.
Great. That sounds wonderful. I'd like to once again thank everyone for joining us for the preview, and I hope everyone goes out May 30th and the 31st down to Liberty Pole Park and partakes in some of the activities. It sounds like a very fun weekend, and I'm sure since it's family-oriented, you're going to get a real good turnout.
And we could practice prior to, so we'll be in good shape.
That's right. Thanks, Jim, for joining us.
Thank you.